July 24th, 2026. Hello, I am John Michael Chambers, and this is your Daily War Report. I ask you to listen with love as where we go one, we go all. These war reports will be extended to up to 30 minutes for the remaining of this week, and then we shall resume our typical 5-minute war reports. Meanwhile, be sure to catch my new monthly broadcast coming out this month, July, Fireside Chat with JMC. The following report has been provided in part by Guardian Daniel R. Strategic Analysis Report, the Allied Forensic Protocol, the Tactical Securing of Evidence since 2016, the real-time mirroring of global electoral data streams by Allied cyber units, the enforceable velocity of Executive Order 13848, and the evidentiary bedrock for military tribunals, military operational design, cyber counterintelligence doctrine. Here are your reveals. Here is your report. Number one, the covert activation of counterintelligence operations. The initiation of the global systemic rests upon a multi-year mathematically calculated counter-operation executed by Allied defense forces beneath the shroud of the civilian theater. The Allied Supreme Command did not merely diagnose the technological infiltration of sovereign voting nodes by the criminal cartel, it leveraged this malicious intent as a definitive strategic trap. As early as 2016, a comprehensive military forensic protocol was activated within covert operational lines, not to prematurely interrupt the adversary's manipulation vectors, but to unassailably document them. We've reported on this over the years. Now you're getting it straight up. Specialized detachments of the Allied Defense Forces, specifically US Cyber Command, and the orbital communication platforms managed via the Space Force, have intercepted and mirrored the entirety of data streams, system log files, routing IP addresses, and covert source code modifications in real time across every critical geopolitical election node. The mission objective of this deployment was the unhackable preservation of material forensic evidence thoroughly cutting off any legal evasion route for the transnational cartel when entering the decisive transitional window. Number two, tactical seizure and the statutory bedrock of Executive Order 13848. The digital and material preservation of evidence managed by Allied cyber teams delivers the indestructible statutory hardware required to evict legacy corporate proxy regimes. The forensic seizure of server hardware. Synchronized military interceptions executed against the hidden server infrastructures of international voting platforms abroad, such as the tactical extraction of data nodes in Frankfurt, Maine, immediately following the 2020 election window, provided the alliance with raw, unaltered, original ledgers of fraud. These unedited data sets are permanently and forensically secured within the Allied main repository. The operational enforcement of Executive Order 13848. Utilizing this flawless evidentiary foundation, Executive Order 13848, imposing certain sanctions in the event of foreign interference in a United States election, backed by an active national emergencies, deploys its full executive velocity. Because the data routing logs confirm that the electoral streams were systematically funneled through transnational borders and hostile foreign intelligence frameworks, this decree establishes a condition of existential threat to the Republic. The mandate for Title 10 USC and Nuremberg 2.0. Under the parameters governed by the Department of Defense Law of War Manual, Chapter 11, this documented foreign subversion activates the exclusive domestic enforcement mandate of the defense forces. The civilian statutory courts and the Bar Guild possess zero legal defense, as the entire corporate administration stands designated as an illegitimate criminal occupying force. The secured forensic data forms the unyielding foundation for the upcoming military tribunals. Conclusion: the deployment of the Allied Forensic Protocol delivers the material guarantee that the fraud governing legacy democratic shells is thoroughly pulverized now within the brightest spotlight of public awareness. The Alliance has comprehensively recorded every tactical movement executed across the digital net, systematically closing the trap through the deployment of national emergencies. Strategic Analysis Report: the constitutional foreclosure of the illegitimate US Corp matrix, the activation of the 1789 Republic under the Lincoln Blueprint, the administrative liquidation of the commercial maritime law superstructure of the U.S. corporation, the enforcement of continuity of government protocols, and the international migration to sovereign land law, constitutional operational design, structural state architecture. Let's break it down. Number one, deconstructing the historical identity theft of 1871. The ubiquitous restructuring of global state infrastructure within the fifth generation warfare demands the absolute exposure of the most fundamental legal fraud of the modern era. In the year 1871, the original constitutional republic of the United States of America was covertly transformed into a private commercial joint stock enterprise, the US Corp, within international maritime law through a hidden legislative maneuver orchestrated by the transnational banking cartels. While maintaining all external emblems, flags, and civilian titles, the global populace was subsequently anchored inside a system of continuous commercial exploitation and strawman bondage governed via the Uniform Commercial Code, UCC. This illicit corporate matrix never possessed an organic constitutional legitimacy, but functioned strictly as an occupying statutory force upon sovereign soil. Every political shell operating within civilian daily routine, from the Washington administrative actors of the Central Casting Theater to European proxy administrative nodes, functioned merely as the registered management of an insolvent holding enterprise. Upon reaching the absolute saturation baseline of this predatory framework, the Alliance executes the unyielding international foreclosure process to thoroughly erase this corrupt software inside the brightest spotlight of public awareness. Number two, the executive engagement of continuity of government protocols under the Lincoln Blueprint. The structural and legal reversion of this century-old corporate superstructure executes within the engine room of the Allied Supreme Command over unbendable operational tracks, the historical precedent of 1861. Covert operational lines utilize the exact legal template established by President Abraham Lincoln. During the Civil War, Lincoln constitutionally bypassed a compromised Congress and governed the nation utilizing military decrees, the ancestral prototype of modern executive orders, to safeguard the republic's substance against the grip of European central banking cartels. This exact military continuity was reactivated by the Supreme Commander-in-Chief, you guessed it, Donald J. Trump. Enforcement of the Department of Defense Law of War Manual. Because civilian statutory benches and the Bar Guild, have lost all international enforcement capacity as sub-entities of the insolvent corporate framework. The exclusive mandate of the Pentagon engages. Chapter 11 of the Department of Defense Law of War Manual dictates with mathematical precision the deployment of an Allied military protective administration under conditions of an existential emergency. Operating beneath active continuity of government protocols, the military exercises absolute receivership under Title 10 USC to secure the migration to general land law. Liquidating the UCC commercial fiction. Utilizing the levers of continuously active national emergencies, the assets and deeds of the illicit corporate constructs were comprehensively seized inside the shadows of the G7 foreclosure. When the curtain definitively falls, and it will, in the brightest spotlight, the criminal shell of the 1871 Joint Stock Corporation is erased, replaced by the unassailable restoration of the original Constitution, the activation of sovereign land law within daily routine. The constitutional purification of the U.S. Command Center delivers the vital domino effect for all continental proxy corporate sub-entities worldwide, because the Berlin or Brussels administrative nodes were statutorily chained to the software of the present enterprise in D.C. These proxy shells lose all remaining execution authority within the global sovereignty cascade. The operational field is stabilized within the shadows, ensuring that critical infrastructure remains unassailably protected every single millisecond. So when the emergency broadcast system, the EBS, permanently silences civilian media frequencies, the music is about to stop, the unedited truth regarding this historical identity theft will be streamed directly into daily life. The populace will comprehend that the collapse of the legacy party and bureaucratic caste signifies the immediate termination of predatory taxation, artificial debt registries, and institutional exploitation. The nations return upright, protected, and in absolute international sovereignty to the divine ancestral heritage of their soil. So in conclusion, the constitutional foreclosure of the illegitimate U.S. corporate matrix stands as the unyielding legal bedrock of the entire strategic cycle. The monopoly of commercial world manipulators and maritime exploiters is thoroughly shattered within the shadows of the Allied operational design. The intersection of universal martial law, the historical Lincoln blueprint, and orbital broadcasting supremacy executes the transition to absolute liberty upon a mathematically optionless baseline. Strategic Analysis Report, the controlled expiration of the SWIFT central banking system, the technological activation of the asset-backed ISO standard, the physical liquidation of unbacked fiat shadow liquidity, the administrative foreclosure of globalist financial architecture, and the fluid migration to asset-backed quantum financial infrastructure. Macroeconomic operational design, monetary network restructuring, pardon me. Let's unpack this. Deconstructing the architecture of fractional reserve financial fraud, the generational preservation of the transnational cartel's geostrategic dominion relied entirely upon its unchecked monopoly over global currency flows. Through the establishment of an unbacked fiat debt register, engineered out of nothing, centralized via the private Federal Reserve Consortium, the European Central Bank, and the compromised SWIFT communication interface, the human family was systematically anchored inside a continuous system of predatory debt bondage. This inflationary software extracted real economic production from sovereign nations every single second to finance manufactured crisis scenarios, covert military installations, and transnational extortion networks within daily routines. Within the ongoing transitional corridor, however, this fraudulent debt empire has reached its absolute international and mathematical saturation baseline. The unyielding forward drive of the global financial hurricane constitutes no system error, but the calculated physical draining of the legacy matrix software executed by the Alliance Supreme Command. The foundation of the central banking cartel is thoroughly dismantled inside the brightest spotlight of public awareness, while the asset balance of the deep state networks is permanently frozen within the statutory vacuum of the G7 foreclosure. The executive engagement of the asset-backed ISO protocol, number 2. The structural and technological transformation of the global monetary order executes beneath the shroud of civilian theater over precisely defined allied hardware tracks, draining fiat software via Basel III enforcements. Utilizing the unyielding activation of global liquidity directives Basel III, the Alliance has engaged a strict physical asset and gold backing obligation for all remaining institutional banking nodes. Very important. Financial networks and corporate proxy entities unable to verify physical asset preservation forfeit their execution authority within the global market collapse, causing unbacked deep state shadow liquidity to instantly evaporate. Executive foreclosure via presidential emergencies. The unassailable statutory flank of this reset is enforced through the precise application, once again, of Executive Orders 13818 and 13848. Every central banking ledger and illicitly held resource linked to severe human rights violations, corruption, or foreign electoral interference is globally blocked and transferred into the Allied receivership ledger. Engagement of the unhackable quantum interface. The exact millisecond the music definitely stops, the legacy SWIFT software is permanently terminated. The space-based unhackable QFS assumes absolute operational command, operating exclusively beneath the ISO 20022 protocol. This matrix solely authorizes transactions tied to verifiable, physically deposited precious metals and raw commodities, establishing fraudulent fractional expansion. The fluid migration to the planetary abundance framework, the technological activation of the new financial architecture delivers the vital cognitive and material shield for the day following the systemic reset. The Allied Protocol guarantees that the liquidation of legacy banking software never triggers a disruption of foundational civilian utilities. Every day, routine, including consumer point-of-sale routing, logistical transit lines, and general commercial trade is fluidly transferred across the unhackable orbital satellite matrix without structural interruption. When the EBS logs the definitive validation of Allied liberation, the global population will be presented with the activation of universal sovereignty credits, known as UBI. Through the comprehensive elimination of all predatory corporate debts, fraudulent mortgage ledgers, and institutional taxation frameworks under the Jassara protocols, the human family is instantly liberated from existential economic bondage. Stolen planetary heritage returns as material asset restitution to the sovereigns, permanently terminating engineered scarcity and anchoring perpetual peace within genuine land law. People ask, what's the plan? The war reports are answering that question. Conclusion. The controlled expiration of the SWIFT central banking system delivers the definitive financial milestone terminating the century-old dominion of the old world order. The monopoly of fractional reserve fraud is thoroughly shattered within the shadows again of the Allied operational design. The intersection of physical gold enforcements, presidential emergency foreclosures, and orbital broadcasting supremacy executes the transition to planetary abundance upon a mathematically unhackable baseline as mathematically as possible. Let me repeat that. Want to get this right. Cannot have error here. I will repeat this. The executive engagement of the National Quantum Initiative Act, the technological superiority of quantum computation over binary frameworks, and the orbital integration within unhackable AI medbeds and advanced production systems, technological operational design, quantum network security architecture. The technological epochal transformation in the brightest spotlight. The irreversible liquidation of the legacy matrix software requires, within the framework of fifth-generation warfare, the comprehensive replacement of informational and administrative system hardware. For generations, the dominion of the transnational cartel relied upon the monopolization of conventional binary computer networks. This classical IT infrastructure, which operates on the sequential processing of bits, 0 or 1, was inherently vulnerable to cyber interventions, data manipulation, backdoor breaches, and algorithmic censorship managed via globalist platforms within the civilian daily routine. To thoroughly neutralize this technological bottleneck inside the shadows of the G7 foreclosure, the Supreme Commander-in-Chief, Donald J. Trump, initiated the phase of quantum dominance, leveraging a strategic sequence of executive and legislative mechanisms. The foundational, constitutional, and strategic pillar is formed by the presidential ratification of the National Quantum Initiative Act and its accompanying quantum executive orders. These decrees constitute no mere industrial development programs. They establish the exclusive public international law mandate to liberate the entire technological infrastructure of the Earth from the grip of legacy commercial networks, permanently anchoring the preparation for the unyielding golden age within the orbital coordinates of the defense forces. Number 2, mathematical superiority and structural operational metrics. The operational mechanics of the quantum paradigm differ fundamentally from the limited architecture governing legacy information technology. Qubits replacing binary limitations. While conventional computers execute calculations step by step in a sequential array, quantum computers operate utilizing quantum bits, qubits, driven by the physical principles of superposition, simultaneity of states, and quantum entanglement. Quantum architectures process trillions of mathematical operations concurrently within the exact same fraction of a second. The unhackable nature of frequencies. Traditional encryption methodologies managed via the legacy central banking and intelligence software, such as the SWIFT network, are decrypted and pulverized by quantum systems in real time. Concurrently, the quantum architecture itself remains absolutely unhackable. Any unauthorized measurement of interception attempt targeted at an entangled quantum state instantly collapses the signal, logging the unauthorized intrusion within the Allied ledger of justice. The intersection with advanced AI. The synchronization of quantum hardware and unhackable artificial intelligence matrices across orbital satellite grids enables real-time monitoring of all global currency and resource allegations on a perfect frequency baseline of 5.5. Number 3, the neural integration of the Allied future infrastructure. The executive activation of quantum dominance delivers the vital neural command center for all structural pillars of planetary wealth and restitution under the Gesara protocols. The military executes this technological restitution within the shadows fluidly, ensuring that the migration of the foundational monetary and communication net matrix unfolds with zero disruption to civilian daily utilities. When the EBS permanently silences civilian media frequencies, the global population will be presented once again with the unedited, absolute execution capacity of the new infrastructure. Within the healthcare sector, unhackable quantum AI grids govern the decentralized deployment of resonance healing technologies or medbeds by recalibrating cellular DNA signatures within milliseconds utilizing electromagnetic frequencies. Within the production sector, the quantum architecture coordinates automated raw materials routing, humanoid robotics, and free energy utilities permanently, terminating engineered scarcity cycles. The promised golden age rests upon this indestructible mathematical baseline, safeguarding, liberating, and securely anchoring the human family within the genuine land law. So in conclusion, the enforcement of quantum dominance delivers the definitive technological milestone, terminating the remaining control software commanded by the transnational cartel. The monopoly of binary data surveillance and engineered scarcity is thoroughly shattered once again within the shadows of the Allied operation. The intersection of presidential emergency decrees, the historic ratification of the National Quantum Initiative Act, and orbital broadcasting supremacy executes the transition to planetary abundance upon a mathematically optionless baseline. Be sure to catch our 2 new broadcasts here at JMC Broadcasting, Off-World with James C. and Truth About Health with Christy Lee. Strategies for Retirees is an 8-part series publishing 1 each week for those preparing for or in retirement. You can learn how to gain and participate in market index growth with zero downside risk and learn how to not outlive income, have guaranteed income plans you can never outlive. Give Brandon Clark a call, 336-420-2822. And join me and Sheila Holm for a live Patriot Q&A Power Hour Thursday, July 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Sheila will be taking your questions for 1 solid hour. Welcome to our private Zoom room. How do you participate? Click on Premium Portal at jmcbroadcasting.com, and we do look forward to seeing you there. And please don't forget, subscribe for free so you don't miss any episodes. Subscribe for free. Follow my military, intelligence, economic, healthcare, and off-world reporting here at jmcbroadcasting.com.
Join Juan O'Savin, retired Lieutenant Colonel Matt Meck, retired Brigadier General Blaine Holt, and other prominent military and intelligence guests for an ongoing monthly broadcast with John Michael Chambers as your host here on jmcbroadcasting.com. This panel will address, among other subjects of great importance, what's taking place with the military tribunals, sealed and unsealed indictments in the avalanche of arrests to come. Will justice be served? This and much more will be addressed each month, including an analysis of current events, making sense of the events as they unfold, one psyop after another. Detecting truth from lies in the dying age of fake news and the rising age of AI and digital enhancements will help you to remain focused and grounded in these most challenging, difficult, and dangerous final battles. A new day is dawning as this golden age is at the doorstep. Remain informed, empowered, and connected by an elite team of military and intelligence experts, and together we will save America. Subscribe for free at jmcbroadcasting.com and be sure to join us monthly. Eyes on Gitmo, wartime analysis. Nothing can stop what's coming, and the best is yet to come. Where we go one, we go all here at jmcbroadcasting.com.